I'm good to go.
Well, we may just go and return and serve. By the time we get all that done, we're ready to go.
I'll make a motion, whereas the town council has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas section 2.23712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the town council that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the town council.
Wait a second.
Second.
Shane.
Steve,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice, Bob,
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
All right, we're back in the open. We're gonna have a couple things to add to the agenda for tonight. Master list of rates and fees. John did an ordinance on door-to-door salesman. We've got some stuff that you have in front of you about the cat situation. And also, Ella Goodman just talked to me about the trees again, so I'll go ahead and talk about that. So, let's go ahead and have an invocation and go at you.
Lord, as we come to you this evening, we thank you for this another day, that you gave us health and strength to face this day. And as we come to you this evening, we pray especially for our nation and our nation's leaders, and also our servicemen and women that's fighting to keep us free. We know freedom is not free, but we pray that you take care of our men and women. Send them home soon. We also pray for this meeting tonight as we take care of the business of our town affairs. We ask for your wisdom. We ask for your guidance. All these things we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get to new business, I've got an announcement that I'd like to go ahead and make for everybody. And that is, we were approved for $8.3 million on our water treatment plant. I got a call today with that information and forget it.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
And we were,
That's big news.
yeah, we were the highest award winner in 5 states.
Holy cow.
And this is a community block grant?
No. This is that, I forget which one it is. It's the one about the hurricane and all that stuff.
This is a federal grant, not a
Federal,
state grant.
Oh, fantastic.
8.3.
8.3.
Wow. Great work.
Right.
Great work.
It is.
And I want to thank, the people at Pennsylvania County that helped on it, and Rachel Del Campo and her team. They put in a lot of work on it too. But that's some really good news for us.
Yes,
Sure
it
is.
is. Not much better than that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. And Bob, he went home today and he wasn't feeling good. He'd been working out in the sun, and he said, "I just don't feel good." I said, "We're going home." He left about 3 o'clock, and I got the call on that. I called and said, "Bob, we'll give you some good news. And I told her, I'm headed that way. I said, what do you mean, man? You're sick. Just, calm down. And he said, I gotta get up. He said, no, I gotta come down. He came down here just to sound, and he said, I had doubts at sometimes. Sometimes I just thought it wasn't gonna happen. But, so anyway, we're all smiles about that. That's really good.
So now that we have assurance that we can do this, we really gotta get that right of way.
Somehow I knew you were going
Because the right of way that we have is that 8-foot right of way that comes off way up there and goes all around, and they don't want that. So we gotta have a replacement. And you have there's a drawing of it, but we need a plat of it, and then we need a document to go with it that says we've got that right. Now's the time, we're gonna build the plant.
Yep. Yeah, this is something we should put on the website, I think, is worthy of that, maybe even, should we tell Shannon Kelly, I believe is her name?
Yeah, I'll call her tomorrow and give it to her.
That'd be great.
And, I will get on that.
Let's get that, and we're gonna have the water pump.
That's fantastic.
Yes, that is good. The handbook that we've been kicking around for a while, Brian and I have been looking at it a little bit along with Evelyn. Since he's been working so much on the numbers, we really haven't gotten into it, but I don't want you guys to think that we've forgotten it, because we got a lot of work that's got to be done on that thing. So we're still working on
Did
it.
people look at the copy I made?
I couldn't get into it, so
I approved it for you that same day.
I couldn't get it to
it wouldn't let
open,
me go in.
and I
Yeah,
sent
it's-
you a request earlier today.
It's a lot of good stuff in there. I took a look at it.
I hadn't been able to read it because it wouldn't open. It said request access, so it's pending.
Alright, I'll just download a copy and send it with an attachment.
So Shannon, you were talking about a new platform.
So if we're gonna go with Civic Plus, we are getting down to the wire, and we're gonna have to make decisions on whether we're gonna keep the Civic Plus website and then sign this agreement with them to do the transition again. But right before I came into the meeting, a company had gotten in touch with me, and it's my understanding that they will help us actually build our own website instead of us having to constantly rent from someone. So if you guys wanna hold off on any discussion on this until I find out for sure about the other thing tomorrow, and then I can get back in touch with you. But we are getting to the point where we have to make a decision and either go with them or go with somebody else because of the timing.
Can see that forthcoming and appreciate your, work and diligence on that. It's a lot to see after. It's not gonna be an easy decision. We've been through some stuff with the website off and on. We finally started having one 10 years ago around this time. And it was around the end of the first term of my administration. That was one of the pushes to finally get us in the 21st century. And then it went from that company to Civic Plus, because it's my understanding that kind of like what we did with Municode and the ordinances, that was a lot for in-house to have to look after. So I would throw out the question conversationally, and it may not can be answered, it probably can't be answered tonight. I would ask staff to consider is working with someone on building and maintaining it something that you want to add to your plate. I don't know, I can't, that's not my decision. And I'm on the way out in a few months, but I will tell you this, this is a chronic problem
it took forever to even get a website. That was frustrating. And then after we got one, it seemed that I personally had to constantly hammer at seeing that it was kept up, because it was always forgotten and let fall by the wayside and a lower priority. Not blaming anybody, just stating the fact. But we live in a time period now that whether you're a business or a municipality or a school, you need a current website, you need a good one, and those things have to be kept up. And I admit, I have a time trying to keep up with what we're doing now. Whatever direction the town goes, it needs to be a plan that is workable for everyone to keep that site up to date and current. It needs to be something user-friendly for whoever's doing it. It needs to be as affordable as we can make it. But this thing has got to be kept up. And we're playing in the 2020s now, not the 1980s or whatever. And, I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. I know the Civic Plus thing is a lot of money like Unicode is, but on the flip side of that, they do a lot of the work for you. Now, if this new entity you've come up with can make that load light for you and your fellow staffers, and it's a better buy for the town, then yeah, why would we not? No, I don't know, but look, this makes it a more difficult decision to have that new option on the table.
Well, for whatever my inputs were, I look at it like you got a whole lot of work on you. And I don't think that's anything that, you're gonna really want to take on that responsibility as well. And Brian isn't gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. And we're the only ones that are capable of it other than you. So I'm not gonna say that Civic Plus is what we may want to stick with or go to. Maybe we use this as an opportunity to look at some other platforms and we can do some price comparison. But to bring it back in-house and spend that inordinate amount of time on messing with it, I don't think you're going to want to do it, to be honest with you.
I think that there will be some challenges with that. And another thing to keep in mind, for what it's worth, and it may not be so much, that's the same, we went with them for one thing because it was the same platform that the county uses. So there's some uniformity there, and people knew people and how things worked. And that was about the time I gave up the mayorship, and I wasn't in on all of those conversations. I don't know all of it. But that was a piece of it. Since then, there's also the fact that there's an interface there between Civic Plus and Unicode. They're in some way connected at the corporate level. And I don't know the details of that. But we were told when we were doing the Unicode project that was a really good match for the Civic Plus website. It may even be a different division of the same company, but I'm not sure about that. You may want to check on what that crossover is there between the two before deciding between them and another platform. See how well, this was simple, to put a link on there to Unicode, which is external, but if there's anything we don't know about there about crossing them over, we just might want to be aware of that.
I tell you who you might want to talk to is Travis, because he works with a lot of different companies.
Yeah,
See what, some of these people are using.
that's a good idea.
Chatham uses Civic Plus, and Alta Vista and Gretna use two other different companies for their webmaster. So Chatham's got a beautiful website. But Chatham's a lot prettier than her.
The new platforms they're offering. The new designs that they're offering are really nice. There's 10 of them to choose from.
Yeah.
The plaza, like I said earlier, we're trying to get the leases in order and get the fresh seafood guy squared away, so we're still ongoing with that. Hopefully, time will permit in the coming couple, 3 weeks to get all these contracts done, so Well,
I'm just asking,
I didn't hear, I didn't,
okay,
what was the question?
anything open about that?
Oh.
Anything for open about the plaza?
I think we're in open line.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
okay.
You got me at a loss, I'm trying to understand.
I've had a long day and I'm sleepy, and I thought we were getting in the edges of prospective business. Maybe not.
Well, prospective business, is that for open? I mean,
That's closed.
You can talk about it open too if you want.
yeah, in open, we can talk about it, I mean,
As long as those prospects are okay with it.
they're absolutely okay.
Okay, well, that's my mistake, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no,
I didn't, I thought that was
no,
not announced yet.
no, they wanna get in here as fast as they can, as soon as they can get the license and all done, so that's gonna be really good.
When you said something about secret, I was like,
Yeah, well,
well, I mean, that's been mentioned, but
yeah, but, yeah, he get his license tomorrow, he'll be down, he'll sign a contract, get ready to get going.
good.
Yep. Let's see. John, you wanna talk about your door-to-door salesman ordinance?
Yeah, I think everybody got a copy of that, I sent it out last week, and I think it's on the table too, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I did send it out, at the last meeting, this fine lady made us aware that there are some door-to-door salesmen going around in the town, they're kind of persistent and they don't identify themselves and don't know what to do with them. So, we have an ordinance based on one they have in Alta Vista that will regulate the door-to-door salesman. They have to get a permit and give information about themselves and who they're working for. This is something we could take under advisement, look at it, and if we want to advertise it for a hearing, future meeting, we could do that. If anybody has any questions about it, at the present time, we can discuss that as well. One thing I need to change about it is I have, in paragraph, section 6202, number 7 is a net fee of $20, which is stated in the ordinance. It should be referred to the master list, so we don't have to amend the ordinance anytime we raise or change that fee. So that's going to cause Gary some more.
We can do that. So you would just change this here to, instead of the $20 being embedded in the ordinance, change the lingo to reference the master list.
Right, yeah, I'll fix that, and then, you can just put it under miscellaneous charges,
Okay.
$20 for a permit. So this would give pretty good, control over the, people, and we'll know who they are, if we complain about them, we'll know who they are and how to get in touch with them.
So if we do pass this and you're a citizen in the town and someone comes to your door, can you ask them for this permit? Can you ask them to see that, or is it held at the town?
That would be, that's the idea, they should have it there. If they don't have it, actually, that's 2 misdemeanor for not doing it. So we have to, that's why we need to make have a public hearing and advertise so we can get it out that we're gonna be doing this. Probably make it effective, in 30 days after it gets passed, so it can be publicized.
So, I guess one question I have, and this might be covered, is, a lot of times kids will do programs for their schools or their clubs, and I've had them come to my door selling cookies and things like that. Is this something that a person like that would need to get a permit for?
Well, we have some exceptions there in the definitions in 6201, number 3, activities conducted on behalf of nonprofit, charitable, civic, or religious organizations. Those are not covered under this. So if you've got someone raising money for,
Girl Scout.
nonprofits, I think
Unless it's our
Yeah.
Girl Scout cookies.
Okay, good.
That would encompass school activities.
so that would be an exemption for the school kids.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, it seems fairly reasonable from what I'm seeing here. I mean, $20 is not too bad. And then, I guess, how does a person, if they come into town, know that they need to do this? I mean, if you're a peddler, should you know that you should come to the town limits to get a permit? Is that
So you should know the law.
correct?
Mm,
Is there something we need to advertise, I guess, to make
Well,
this?
that's what I was saying, if we put an ad in, we're gonna have to have, if we have a public hearing, we can give notice of the ordinance in the ad. And then if it gets passed and we have a 30-day waiting period for it to go into effect, we might put it in the paper again.
And on the website.
Yeah.
And definitely on the website all the time. That might be a featured place in the website. So the first thing you see is when you open the website, you have that.
Okay.
Have we had anyone come to the town recently getting a permit for anything like that?
They came and asked about it, but because y'all didn't have anything, we just told them they had to go to county to get their license.
Well, we shouldn't have said that because we give the license for people in the town, not the county.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think we need to put it out for public discussion to get a vote on it, because I know a few months ago, I had two gentlemen come to my door that said they were subcontractors for Dominion Electric, and I told them, I said, well, hold on a minute, I'm gonna call a field supervisor for Dominion, who works for Dominion Electric, and find out who you are. Well, then they left.
Imagine that.
But said field supervisor for Dominion Electric literally ran them down in town to find them.
Yeah.
And he found them on Prospect Road and asked them what they were doing, attaching themselves to the company. And they didn't have anything to do with Dominion Electric. They were trying to sell solar, but they weren't on the up and up with the solar sales, and they were trying to tie it into Dominion.
I can see that, somebody lying to make $1.
And, so yeah, I think this really needs to, again, because, and I'm not to offend, so y'all don't beat me up, but we have a lot of senior citizens that live by themselves and would be a perfect victim for said individuals.
Is it possible, now I put up one of those ugly no soliciting signs on my front door, and I think it has helped, but is it possible at the main entrances to Hurt, put no soliciting signs, permanent ones, no soliciting in the town of Hurt, or something, some kind of a sign, and that would be a way of letting
Then
them
you've
know.
gotta have exemptions, and exceptions apply. You
Uh-huh.
know, you can't say no soliciting because we've got all these exceptions for people that can
Well,
do that.
okay.
The
I'm just asking.
poor students couldn't sell any cookies.
Well, cookies, and I like popcorn.
They won't try to sell it because there's a big sign in the
I
town.
don't want solar panels, and I don't want these guys on hoverboards coming up my driveway and giving me a hard sell.
Agree. I think most people in town agree with that.
Get a super soaker.
Yeah, I do think it's a good idea to have a hearing on this and to the council to do its diligence and consider all of it. We've all already had input on this matter. Some of us have had experience with it more than others. And, you know, it's like I told a couple of them that came, look, I'm not opposed to solar and what you're doing. But, one, I'm not interested. I will call you if I'm interested. And two, not everybody that's doing this is going about it in the right way. So what we're doing here is we're gonna expect you to go about it in the right way. You come down here and tell us who you are, and what your business is, and what the plan is. You get a permit, okay, you follow proper procedure before you go out there and spook people and such. We got to know, you know, who's doing what, and that they're legitimate, instead of, there's so much scamming now.
I assume this passes when they come to get permit, it will be notarized. That way, if somebody asked to see it, they would know it had the seal of the town of Hurt on it and wasn't just something somebody ran off on a laser printer and
That's a good
made their
idea.
own.
Well, the
Yeah, that's
town
good.
seal is a different feature
Well,
than
but I mean,
another
but
thing. Yeah.
if Shannon would have to actually notarize it with
They have,
signature.
they have met the criteria for,
Yes, sir.
sales licenses.
Because in that way, they can't just laser jet them one and.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
They have to wear a thing around their neck.
That'd be okay too.
We can save the trouble, we'll just tattoo them right between the
So we wanna have the hearing at the September 1st meeting. We've got one shot to get it in the paper.
Is that enough?
I think it really ought to put it in there twice if we can take it until September 15th.
To the work session 15th, that probably would be better, time-wise.
Yeah, it's almost,
Give us time to advertise it in the paper and the website and however else, bulletin board. Yeah, this is something that will garner attention because a lot of people have been affected by it and are concerned about it. So we want to have a hearing at the September 15th work session. I'm gonna make a motion to schedule a public hearing at the September 15th work session for the proposed ordinance in chapter 6 regarding regulations of door vendors inside the town municipal limits.
I second it.
end.
Steve,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
All right. Now we gotta do is figure out how we're gonna let them know when to come to town, we need to get there.
How are we gonna do what?
Let them know when to come to town,
Oh.
they need one.
They're gonna have to come down here and ask Shannon.
But it'll be on the website. Surely somebody would be looking for some guidance.
I mean, with Carol's idea of having a sign that says
Don't have
solicited
a permit, the
required.
police can tell them they need to get the permit, and they can't be going door to door until they do.
We could take the solo police sign thing and put it down here at the bridge and flashed and said, there you go,
Permits
permits
required
required
for
for peddling.
Yeah, something like that.
Peddler's license, they,
It's
And
a
just,
door to door sale, door to door vendor.
Hang on.
call it whatever you like. All we know is they come in town without one, we'll bust them up. All right, let's see here. Gary, I think, do we need to get the master list of rates and fees approved?
We do. I had to separate it into two different documents because of a hiccup with Excel. The one that had been embedded was actually a screenshot from a separate document that somebody had years ago, and it could not be amended, so I just separated it out into a separate sheet in the workbook, and I can share that with you for future use. The paper copies of both are here on the table. We put in the revised numbers that Paul had recommended for the 3/4 inch service, and there were no other adjustments. John, per what we discussed last meeting, I moved the mobile home reference permit from zoning up into business and professional. It's on page 1, about 2/3 of the way down. I think we have covered all of the recommendations. And then if we end up passing something on door to door or other items, then we would just have to add it in at the time. You know, since that hasn't happened yet, we wouldn't want to do it preemptively. So it's here fresh. I've got a revision date of today. And yeah, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve. If anybody has anything they want to talk about first or after.
Yeah, what was it that Joe had mentioned to you that we needed to increase?
On the schedule of water and wastewater fees, the second document, they're under 3/4. The water connection fee went up a little bit to $37.44. And there was another one, I'll see if I can find my old one here. Yeah, and then the total fees went from $67.59 up to $72.03 in the next to the last column, right there. Other than that, they did not recommend any changes. So I just, Joe and Paul are the ones that keep up with that, so they know what the costs are for these different things, and I went with those recommendations, and the rest of it were good. And as far as the master list goes, that's pretty much just updating, whatever we pass in the budget. This basically accompanies the budget. Usually comes a month after, along with anything that gets added. In this case, the only thing we added after that was the mobile restaurant permit for $25. So, here it is. Anybody see something I missed, by all means, from all ears.
Goodness gracious. $1,000 a year for fortune tellers.
They seen it coming.
I don't think anybody has ever brought that up. They haven't, to my knowledge, since I've been on council. But that's been on here ever since we've had a master list. It's never been discussed any adjustments to it, so I left it as is.
It's in the Virginia code.
Well, I guess then it's a statewide thing.
No, that's provided in the Virginia code, that you can charge that much.
I wouldn't think that there's a lot of interest in that business around here.
I haven't seen any ads.
There are places that would be, but, personally, I'm not in any hurry.
Well, thank you for your work on this. It looks good.
That's a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna make a motion that we pass the master list of rates and fees for fiscal year 2026 to 2027 as proposed to us, including the schedule of water and wastewater connection and recovery fees.
I second the motion.
Okay.
Steve,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Alice. Bob,
Yes.
Gary.
That's done until we change something.
All right, Ella Goodman, you guys know her, lives right down behind, Michael Blackstock's old shop. We had, I guess it was a couple of years ago, some trees fell over on her fence, and we had, John, McGill go up and look at cutting those trees down, and she wants us, since it was trees on our property fell on her fence, she thinks we ought to fix her fence too, and we talked about all that a couple of years ago, and, John gave us a price, and we did not move on it. It's happened again, so Ella is really anxious for us to get something done about this. And I think we ought to, it's our property, our trees falling on her, so we've got John to go up and take a look at what he would charge us, cut those trees down, get them all. Yeah. As far as fencing, fixing her fence, I don't know about that. I mean, I guess we'd have to bring in somebody to put that kind of fence up. It's a basic aluminum fence with the, kind of the,
Chain link.
chain link, yeah. And, from what I understand from her, the bar at the top, they fell on it, then, so we can, talk to probably somebody down at was the new camps and see who does that kind of fence and get them to come out and give us a quote. My guess is, I haven't looked at it, but to put a new piece in there, something. But I do think we need to really get, John's probably the best guy to do it, come in there and cut those trees down. And what he did, I'm trying to remember what he charged us, what he said he was gonna do before. It was, some reason $2,000 is sticking in my mind. There's some pretty big trees, and he's gonna cut them and haul them off and all for us.
How much acreage?
Probably a couple, 3 at the most, because it's that old right of way behind those houses coming right to hers. I don't remember when we talked about it, how much it was. It wasn't all that much. It's just the trees are heavy and thick.
Yeah, they are. I talked to her about it in person. Yeah, I mean, cutting the trees down would probably be cheaper than fixing a fence multiple times. So I think that's good to get a quote.
So, we called John, he can come by and take another look at it. He just threw a number out there. He said, back when we were talking about it before, it was, X amount of thousands a day, and he said, that's 3 or 4 years ago, so it'd be a little bit more than that, so.
Well, that's one where you get 2 tree cutters to give you a quote. Get the best price.
Yeah, because there's Cox tree cutters in here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of trees.
Yeah, right there on Spring Street.
Well, they have business.
One of them that works for them's trucks right there on Spring Street. I'm not saying they run a business out of there, but.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be good to get a competing quote. I do remember Bill being reasonable though.
Yeah, I mean, he does great
John
work.
probably will be mad.
Yeah, he does great work. Unless we want to bring you Guatemalans. I use them. Laugh about them boys cut some trees down.
They weren't any cheaper than the other folks I found when they gave me my quote. They charged me $100 for one branch.
Yeah, they tell you how I
They tried to at least.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll get a quote from John, and if we need to, we'll get a quote from those guys you're talking about, Paul. I'll call and get the number, you get it off the truck for me.
Yep.
All right, we'll take care of that, and, I'll tell Ella. Bless her heart, she came down here to see me, and she said, we talked about this 2 years ago, man, you didn't get your thing done. I said, oh, we got a lot going on, so how about you just call me every day and remind me that you've done that, so. Call me every morning.
I thought we did. Didn't we clean up one tree at least?
I think, if we did, it was only one.
Yeah.
We didn't do that really late.
Yeah, I do remember we did one of them at least. Okay.
So anyway, she's reminding me, and I'll tell her tomorrow, we're gonna get somebody to take a look at it. They'll make it happen. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
Yes. I got a question about the, door-to-door salespeople. If someone comes down here to, pay and get a license from Shannon, so they go door-to-door, is she gonna, I mean, is there a way that their business can be checked to make sure it's a legitimate business? Because, I mean, may not mind paying $20 and going out here around door to door and scanning people, it's not a real business. Or we give them a license.
They're going to fill out the, form and supply all the information that's required.
We'll probably have to produce a copy of the license.
Business card.
If they have, I mean, if they're a corporation, you could get their charter from the state corporation commission.
So I'll read it out loud just so you can hear what it says. It says, all peddlers shall, prior to engaging in their respective occupations, register with the town clerk on forms furnished by the town, which forms shall contain the following information: the full name, personal description, and age of the registrant, the registrant's legal and local address, a brief description of the nature of the business, and a list of the goods and wares to be sold. If employed, the name and address of the employer, together with credentials establishing the exact relationship, the length of time for which the right to do business is desired. If a vehicle is to be used, a description of the vehicle, including year, make, model, registration number, license number, and proof of automobile insurance, or proof of payment to the uninsured motor vehicle's fee, the place where the goods or property proposed to be sold or orders taken for sale therefore are manufactured or produced, where such goods or products are located at the time such application is filed, and the proposed delivery method. Upon registration, each person so registered shall, upon the payment of a fee of $20, be issued a permit to sell door to door in the town. Such fees shall be paid into the general fund of the town. And then there's a section that says, no person shall canvass any product or thing without registering it and obtaining the permit as required here, is here again. And you are not allowed to sell anything that is unlawful, civil or criminal, imposed by existing laws.
Could we charge them for a background check? Because you can fill out all that stuff and still have a criminal background and we'd never know it.
If it's not an employer, we could check with the employer.
If they have
I
one.
think it might be a little bit too far to be doing a criminal background check. But if we have trouble after we do this, then maybe we'll just have the police follow the guy around.
Yeah, I mean, if they're trying to do illegal things, I doubt they're gonna wanna give us their vehicle registration and all that.
I think most of them, it's that, I would think somebody that's trying to pull something shady, if they see they've gotta do this much, well, I'll just go somewhere else where it's less trouble.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking with that.
Anything else?
Computers in police cars.
That'll be coming up. I think we all kind of agree that that's something that we need for our PD. And, we could get a couple quotes on them. We talked to a couple of the departments and we got a name of the guy that supplies them, so. I would personally like to move on it as soon as possible. I think whether we lose better off we're gonna be. Just be honest with you.
So what we're talking about is the, police, law enforcement agencies all around, the state police, the county, the Alta Vista, the city of Danville, almost all law enforcement officers have a computer in their car. And they can check license plates where they can do work if they need to, if they're on a stakeout or whatever they're doing, and if they're not out patrolling, they can work on the computer. So it's a good thing to have, and it's very common throughout the state for law enforcement patrol cars to have a computer.
And it's also
Yeah,
great
we know.
for their protection, and that would help with their protection also.
Yeah, and we don't have that. So that's what what the mayor's talking about, that we should get them.
It gives our officers the opportunity, while they're actually on duty and out in the field, to multitask. You know, they can set up, run a radar, and work on computers all at the same time.
That's what you're talking about, Jimmy, is they might find out something about the car, who's driving it before they approach the car.
So, looking for a vote, a motion from council to, let's go ahead and get some price quotes in here and start the process of moving forward with this. And we want, you know, I guess, do we want them? And if so, we start the process on getting some quotes.
I'll make a motion that we get pricing for computers to put in the police cars we have. And, go with the best price we find.
I second.
Shannon?
Steve,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
Get on that tomorrow. All right. Anything else?
Cats, that you had mentioned earlier, we were gonna talk about cats.
Well, most of the people that want to talk about cats didn't show up. John, do you want to let?
Well, I was not at the meeting, but the mayor was, and Jason they had a meeting with some of the county folks about the cats and what could be done, and I really don't know what all was said. We do have some information from the
Yeah, I said it on
county
the.
about the policies of the county for dealing with not just cats, but all pets. And whether they will deal with feral cats or wild cats. They said they do not pick them up, but the SPCA has some folks that would pick them up and spay them, give them needles. And then they mark them by cutting off a corner of their ear, so you can always tell one that's not going to make any more kitties. And they turn them loose again.
Bring them back to where they call them, in other words.
So that's gonna stop that cat from making more cats, but it's not gonna stop it from
Jumping on your car.
doing what it was doing. If that's a wild cat, if it's somebody's cat, that's a different category. And that's where we have the question of, is it these folks that, the person that complained about it, or do they actually own them? By feeding them and giving them a place to live. So that's the question, being able to do that. Jason is going to go to the complainant person has supplied four addresses of where she thinks the cats are coming from. And Jason is going to go and interview them and see if he can get some cooperation from them. And then at that point, we have to decide if we want to charge them with allowing the cats to run loose, or we could also bring them in to the council and ask them to show why it's not a public nuisance. But that again, they have to be shown to be owned by or cared for or fed by the people that are being complained against. Gotta be their cat.
Yeah, I mean, what we see right now is people live across the street from each other. Your cat's coming over here getting on my car, honestly. Talk to you. No, it's not my cat. Well, the other one, I see you feeding the cat. Well, it's still not my cat, you know? So that's where we're at.
Well, the definition of the owner of the cat is somebody that keeps the cat, feeds the cat, and takes care of it. And if you can show they got food out there and the cat's eating the food and hanging around the house, I think that gives you enough evidence to show that they are the owner.
What about the ones,
Even if they say it's not my cat.
what about the ones gonna say, well, feed the squirrel, the cat eats that squirrel ball?
Feeds the squirrel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, cat eats squirrel food.
Well,
I thought I read somewhere that if you're feeding it purposefully, it's your cat, whether you claim
yeah,
it or not.
that's the idea.
Legally
Yeah.
speaking, yeah,
Yeah, you put the food out there for the cat to
it's
eat.
yours.
If you're feeding your cat and you take the food up after it finishes, don't leave it out there.
Have we looked into the Virginia laws around feeding wild animals? Because I know, at least with deer and things like that, it's considered entrapment if you're feeding it. So I know that you can't feed ducks within 500 feet of reservoirs, and are there
Yeah.
any laws, Virginia laws on this?
You got that for the, birds.
Okay,
Um,
but nothing on cats
Doesn't say
statewide?
anything about feeding a cat within anything.
Okay,
They just told us when they came down here that it's a problem all the way across the county. From the river over here to the Carolina line and east to west, the same thing.
no, I've seen them higher.
Number one.
So we just have, I think if the folks that are having these cats, or if they're made aware that there's a real, problem with it, maybe they'll do something about it, and that's the idea. If they won't do anything about it, then they could be charged. But that is a criminal offense, and you have to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt that it is the owner that you got. The cat has gotta be, you gotta prove it's that person's cat for criminal charge. So that would require some photographic evidence of the fact that
So bottom line is cats are still gonna be a problem.
Yes, they are.
Well, what is it gonna take for the SPCA to do their catch and neuter? I mean, it sounds like that's the option we need to go to right now.
I mean, I guess,
they would just make a request.
yeah, doesn't the homeowner, one of the complainant, if something happens to home, or the homeowner could call if they
If you
want?
send the SPCA and over and they start trapping the cats, the person comes out and says, you can't trap my cat, whoops. There you go.
And they
Seems
just,
like the best way to move
That's
forward.
they just had a problem in
You can't take
Danville
my cat.
yeah, they trapped a person's cat, took it over there, and somehow or another, the cat ended up getting
I
euthanized.
saw that.
And the lady that was over the whole thing, she's out the door.
I think there was other things with that firing, but I agree. You can't take people's animals, but in a situation like this, it sounds like there's 30 plus cats out there. Is that true? Do we know how many there are?
Probably more than that.
Well, Jason is supposed to be going to all these places and talking to them and look around. He's gonna investigate.
Asking cats who their owner is.
Hopefully the intention on the people will make them change something, at least maybe give some of the cats away, or let the SPCA take them and place them somewhere.
But remember, I want to remind everybody of the dog problem we had a couple, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the way that ended was, the person that had the problem with dogs ended up having to go to child to the magistrate and file a complaint and get an order against the dog, and that ended up because nobody went.
Yep.
I mean, same dogs run the same streets.
Well, if they pick the cat up, the cat is neutered, they clip its ear, and you see that cat, well, it's no harm, can't reproduce. But that's not gonna stop those cats from destroying property.
Nope.
So you have fixed the problem, but the other half is still there.
That's right.
Type of property damage.
Turner furniture. I think this lady had a nice motorcycle, they destroyed the seat of the motorcycle. And she had a flower bed or something. She had several things that she spent a lot of time in, and the cats destroyed it. So, neutering's one part of it,
Yeah.
but the destruction of property is another. And myself, as a, sitting on the council, I don't see how we can allow cats to take over our town. There has to be something done.
You have to have a mechanism to do it. You gotta prove the person
So,
that owns the cat that's doing the damage.
like the mayor said, it's a real problem, but I think it's a problem we're gonna have to address some form or fashion.
Well, here,
Now,
The neutering has to go, you gotta get that done, because it's just gonna get worse.
I
So,
agree, that's one step,
yeah,
that's part of it.
but here's the one thing you can't do. Can't do is kill a cat. If you kill a cat, you will get 5 years. And they've got people now that the county's put away for killing a cat.
I believe it.
It's that big of a crime.
That big of a crime, 5 years minimum.
Somebody goes out and just shoots somebody's cat.
Yes, sir. 5 years, they've already got one in jail now doing it. And that cat belonged to him.
We can't find a gun and hurt no way.
Kill his own cat?
Killed his own cat. They killed dogs, same thing applies to dogs.
Cruelty to animals, that's what you're talking about. cruelty.
So, hey, you just, hey, don't do that.
So don't do it when there's any witnesses.
Is that your legal advice?
That was the thought, not legal advice.
Alright,
Common sense.
I just wanna make sure everybody knew that because, I don't think you wanna run over one you got shot at in the driveway.
so will we have an update at the monthly meeting on his investigation?
I'm hoping if Jason comes,
Well, I asked him to do one thing, and I don't think he's gonna do it. I asked him to go out and take a file of complaint, take a photograph of the perpetrator, take a clean piece of paper and some ink, get the cat, get his paw print. So we're gonna identify him, but you know,
I can't blame him.
Gotta catch it first.
I mean,
Don't put that in there.
yeah, but
That don't go in the minute.
bottom line is,
It's in there.
it's a problem. because,
No, I
I
believe it.
mean, they said,
Well, years ago, Pennsylvania County, they would give you traps to actually catch them. That was years ago, I don't even know if they do that
Well,
anymore.
that's fairly recent, because I have a friend who's done a bunch of cats to have them stay in there.
but I mean, you got people really getting upset about this. I've got a picture from the same person 2 or 3 times. People live across the street from them, have a cat, feed the cat, she sees them feed the cat. Cat comes over when she's not looking, goes in the garage, jumps up on the roof of her car, is sitting up on the roof of the car. She comes out the house and shoots the cat. The cat takes off across the windshield, down the hood, with his claws, and runs back over the street. She talks to the lady that lives in front of her and says, your cat's scratching the car to pieces, I'm gonna make it pay for it. Ain't my cat. Ain't my cat. Well, see you feed it, it stays over here with you, you come out in the morning and call his name and he comes running to you. I just know him, he ain't my cat.
So we need that investigation.
Oh,
well, Jason is supposed to be launching an investigation.
Thank you, John.
Anybody have any